as quickly as possible. Plus, minus, times, and divide decimals and fractions. Plus and minus decies, as I like to call them, is the same as normal addition. The only thing is you have to line up the decimals. So if I have 2.1 and 10.007, you have to line up the decimal, whether I'm adding or subtracting. We're going to add, of course, in this one. Anywhere there's nothing over here, you put a zero, because there's nothing in math that's zero. 7 plus 0, 0 plus 0, 1 plus 0. Drop it down. Line them up, drop it down. There's the decimal. Okay? Boom. Um, Multiplying fractions, or decimals, sorry, is also the same. Times decies. Except you have to count them up. And by them, I'm just abbreviating them, guys, trying to save space and time. Ink. I'm talking about decimal places. So if I had two, let me switch colors here. 2.1 times 0.07. You don't have to line up the decimals. A lot of times I do to try to trick kids, see if they will drop it down, okay? But I'm doing 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 0 times anything is 0. There is no other line. There's just that one line. Where does the decimal go? If they drop it down, they're going to get it wrong. Oops. I didn't have any students to say, Mr. Douglas, we can't see. I tell them to tell me when I don't notice that. All right, so 2.1 times 0.07. If they just drop the decimal down, they're going to get it wrong. Okay, we have to count up how many decimal places. There's one, two, three. Okay, so that's two. So 1 plus 2, there's three total decimal places. However many decimal places you have in your problem, you must have in your answer. That's what the decimal will be. 0 and 147 thousandths. Okay, I say point a lot of time just so people who struggle with this topic can still follow class and write the math. I guess just real quick, here's how you do that. I don't know how to say that. 0.147? No, say it the way you're supposed to say it mathematically. Well, if you don't remember how to do that, all you do is you put a fraction bar, you put a 1 under the decimal and a 0 under each digit. That's how you say it. You can memorize all the place values too. That's fine if you already did that. Fine. But this is what we're doing really. So you just say the answer was 27 and 147,000. Okay. All right. Last one for decimals. Let's make it an even number. 22 and 44 hundredths divided by 0.02. I always say most people have heard this at one point or another in their life called a division house. I don't know if I made this up or if some teacher in my class told me this. I think I made this up. So since this is called a house, I think of these as the numbers as people. If the numbers are people, what's this little guy? So we jokingly call it a baby, and we say, "Hey, who let the baby out of the house?" I want you to. It's hard to remember all these math strategies. You need to look at the problem and see something to give you a hint to remember what to do. This is a division house. Who let the baby out of the house? Get back in the house. Move back. Copycat. This is what we was saying earlier. Whatever you do on the outside, gotta do on the inside. Okay, that's that proportional relationship of math. Okay, so I move two places on the outside. I can move two places inside. Move back. Copycat. Decimal at top. And the fifth graders in Mr. Hartzell's class say over, over, up. So you might have remembered a different way from different people. Now I can say, now my new problem now is 2,244 divided by 2 because I moved the decimal places. All right, 2 goes into 2, 1, 2 goes into 2, 1, 2 goes into 4 twice, 2 goes into 4 twice. Boom. All right, so I like to do fractions and decimals together side by side. All right, so I'll make this a little bit longer. Fractions. How do we add and subtract fractions? We said it on one of the other videos. You must have the same denominator, oops, denom, to add fractions, fracs, okay? So if I had half a pizza plus 5 slices out of 8, okay, how many total slices do I have? Well, before I can add them, these bottom numbers have to be the same. Now, I'm lucky here because the least common multiple is 8. 2 fits into 8. How many times? Times 4. Way to do the bottom, the denominator, gotta do the top. Okay, so now half of a pizza is really 4 out of 8 slices. So now my new math problem is 4/8 plus 5/8 equals 9/8. Now, most of the time in math, we don't leave things as an improper fraction. Okay, 8 goes into 9 one whole time, so I have one whole pizza and one extra slice. Okay, all right, multiplying fractions is pretty easy. Times fracs. For multiplying fractions, the first thing you should always try to do is simplify, but let's just do one where you don't need to simplify. Okay, 3 can't be simplified with 2 or 4. They're as small as they go. To multiply fractions, you just multiply across. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 4 is 8. Boom, easy. Okay, but I always say before you multiply, you should always try to make life easier. Always try to simplify. So you might have some really big numbers like 20 over 50 times 7 over 14. I don't want to do 14 times 50. It won't take that long, but some of the numbers will be pretty nasty. Like what if they had 133 times 17? You should always see if there's anything on the top and bottom you can simplify. Sometimes you can simplify crossways. Okay. In this case, I make them quick and easy so you can simplify on top and bottom of each numerator and denominator. I've heard some teachers call zero trick. If I divide by 10 and divide by 10, it's going to get rid of that zero. It's just going to be 2/5. 7 is half of 14, so there's my new fraction. 7 divided by 7, 14 divided by 7. Now I multiply across. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Now I could simplify again. I could divide both of those by 2, and that's 1/5. Okay? Last one, I jokingly love telling my class, remember how awesome I am and I taught you how to divide fractions? No, we don't teach how to divide fractions. Some genius in the annals of time, who knows where in the world, realized that you could do KCF. Or if you remember KFC, because the chicken, just make sure you put the letters in the right place. So if I have, let's make one up, 7 over 10 divided by 14 over 2. Okay. Well, I know you could, yeah, all right, fine. Let's change that to 26. All right, just for funsies. KCF. Keep the first fraction, change division to times, flip the second fraction. Reciprocal. When you flip a fraction, it's called reciprocal. So it's going to be 26 over 14. Well, 7 goes into 14 two times. 10 and 26, I can divide by 2. This becomes 5. This becomes 13. Now, when I multiply across, that's 1 times 13. 2 times 5 is 10. Okay? 10 goes into 13 one whole time with 3 left. Ding, ding, ding. Sorry, that was a longer one.